Hello everyone, again this is Uriah's mother, and I'm making this video as a mayday call to Bremen Court to release my son. Stop suppressing evidences. My son was abused by my ex. I reported this incident to the pediatrician. The pediatrician examined my son 3 weeks after I reported it. And then she said that contact between my son and the father should be suspended. There is a letter she sends, my lawyer wrote it to the court. The report itself from the doctor was withheld till after I had to file a complaint by the Landesbeauftragte for Datenschutz. And then she released this report of hers to Jugendamt in Bremen. Case manager Mr. Hartmut Engeland released the report of my son. Bremen Court has not called for this report. Bremen Court has not used this report. Bremen Court doesn't have this report in the files. That is not the only report from the pediatrician. There's a report from Gesundheitsamt in Bremen. One of the days my son had a checkup, I went there with my ex and he lied to the doctor because he had issues with me at home that my son has autism. The doctor referred us to go to Gesundheitsamt Bremen. That is why we landed in Gesundheitsamt Bremen. My son was checked and the Gesundheitsamt Bremen said, release a report and said my son doesn't have any autism. My son doesn't have autism. That it was a lie. The report from Gesundheitsamt Bremen was sent to the Kinderarzt, the pediatrician. After the abuse of my child went to visitation with the father, came back and was displaying strong pornography behavior. I reported it to the police, the court, the pediatrician. And I told the court I was leaving Bremen. I was leaving Bremen because my life was under a threat and my son was abused. I had reported to the police I had death threats from my ex. My son was abused and he was coming to the house in the night. Even when I had changed the locks, he kept on coming, saying he wants to come and collect post. Are you collecting post every day? Even if you want to collect post, why don't you do it the right way? And why are you coming in the night? In the night. There's a letter from my lawyer to him to stop coming to the house because they kicked him out of the house and asked me and my son to go there unwillingly. I refused. I had packed out of that house. I didn't want anything to do again with that house. I was sent there against my will. And he kept on stalking me and coming there in the night. And when he abused my child, I left Bremen. I informed the court. I didn't just go away because I am well brought up. Okay? I respect the law. I told the court I was going with my son to safety. That my life was under threat and that of my son. And meanwhile, when he was coming to the house in the night, he was spreading rumors that I am suicidal. Me suicidal? How do you come by that inference? How? Because he had ulterior motive to kill me. Yes. So when I left Bremen for Berlin, I took my son to Charité Hospital, Kinderschutz Ambulante. You don't need termin, you don't need appointment, you can walk in there with your child. I took my child to that hospital and the person attending to us immediately called Jugendamt Bremen. She called him, she sent him an email. I have the voice recording from her that she said she has contacted him, but there's no response. When Jugendamt Bremen realized that they have been contacted by Charité, instead of him to respond to Charité, he's filed a letter to the court that is to take my child from me, that I am a danger to my child. Which mother is a danger to her child by taking her child to the hospital for trauma help? My son was seriously traumatized after he was abused by the father. Huh? And I take my child for help, and you call me that I'm a danger to my child? What nonsense is that? What nonsense is that? And then you take my child, that a normal child, a growing child, a well-developed child, you take my child to foster home for disabled children. Yes, for disabled children, children with autism. Why would you do that to my child? Why? A child that was raped anally, and then you now put so much trauma on him? Do you know I almost lost my child? Do you realize I almost lost my child? Yes, my child was sick. And when my lawyer now wrote to the Bremen court that my child is sick, instead of them to release my child and clean up their mess, they sent all the files to Berlin, backdated the court decision. What kind of corrupt system is this? In a country like Germany? What kind of corrupt system, justice system is this? Or is it because I am black? Huh? Is it because I'm black that you have to treat me as you will? You treat my child as you will? No accountability, no transparency in a court case that has to do with child sexual abuse. You don't call for report, you don't call for medical reports, you suppress, you write rather lies. You write lies. And then you work on your lies and expect it to be the rule of law. No. Impossible. I'm going to sound it to every public space that what you have done, my child, is unlawful and illegal. And there are consequences for it. Okay? There are consequences for it. And the second time again, my child is abused in this foster home for disabled children. What did you expect? What did you expect? You bring out a child from safety from the mother's care and put it in a foster home run by three men. A foster home for disabled children. You make money off my child's life. You don't allow my child to go to kindergarten. From the time you took my child from me till today, my child has not been allowed to go to kindergarten. What nonsense is that? What nonsense is that? What is that? And ever since when I complain, you turn a deaf ear because you feel I don't even have a voice here. Who am I? Who is this black woman? Okay, you will know who the black woman is. Because I'm going to make sure that everybody on planet Earth gets to see this information and you will be charged for it. Because there are consequences to injustice in the court of law. You don't just do things and get away with it. Maybe you have been doing things to get away with it, but this is not going to go away. This will not go away. You cannot traumatize my child. You cannot torture my child and expect me to keep quiet. No, I will not keep quiet. No, I will not keep quiet. My child was abused by the father and abused again in the foster home for disabled children. It was discussed in court. You don't find this in the court protocol. Why? Why are you falsifying court protocol, Bremen court? Why? Yes. The child's father, after he lost friendship with the foster home, said this, that he even told the Verfahren bystander, and he mentioned it in court to the hearing of all, that Thorsten Blödhorn has a pedophilic relationship with my son. All of you heard it. Again, court protocols have been falsified. All what has been happening in the court and around my child, you don't read it in the court protocols. It is not on record that the father mentioned it in the court case, in the courtroom, during a hearing, that my son is being tortured and had a pedophilic relationship with Thorsten Blödhorn in the Kinderschutzentrum of Berlin. You don't find it in the court protocol. Why? Oh yes, you are going to put it there because I'm going to write it. I'm going to file a complaint to the Supreme Court that you have falsified protocol of the court by not including this main important information. And none of you did anything about it. You just sat down there and pretended as if nothing was being said. Only one lady stood up in that court and said, no, she's not going to pretend as if she didn't hear it. My child must be moved from that place immediately. But that never happened. My child was never moved. Instead, they still played business as usual. I took my child away from there to avoid sexual assault. Okay? I didn't give birth to my child to be abused constantly, anally, by pedophiles in Germany. No, I didn't do that. I didn't bring my child to this world to be a sex toy for you. Okay? So I took my child and I reported it to the International Protection Office. Yes, I did that. Go and check the reports. Okay? I'm not a criminal. I'm not scared of you. I did everything I have to do and I will do it again to save my child. Alright? And I'm doing this video specifically for the purpose of my child. I reported all what you have done. Another country has your files, has your details, has every atrocity you have committed to my child. So it's time you let go. It's high time you let go and correct your mess. Because it's too much. And now you've hidden him. Only God knows what you've done to him right now. Because calls, text, video, what are you trying to hide? Is he well? Is he sick that you are trying to hide? What have you done with him? Or are you continuing the business as usual anal sex with my child? What are you trying to hide that you don't want the mother to see? I'm going to send this video to all nook and cranny of the whole earth so that this nonsense of pedophilic relationship with minor children, especially my grandchildren in Germany, it must come to an end. It is too much. It must stop. and the people behind it masquerading as court officials must be persecuted.